Hello everyone, how are you all? So today we are going to learn about the sustainable design. So what is sustainable design basically? It is a design which seeks to reduce negative impacts on the environment. So ultimately our design must think about the environment. So as per Dieter Rams principle, there is ninth principle which says that good design is environmental friendly. So being a designer, we always must thought about the environment. Okay, so basically sustainable design a philosophy, it is a philosophy that is applied by different companies, governmental entities and non-governmental organizations such as various NGOs. Okay, so ultimately it is not the responsibility of the government only to think about the environment. Being an individual, you also have to think about the environment. Okay, now when it comes to other part, why we are doing all these things, why we want to achieve this sustainable design? Because we want to achieve a better future for the human race. And ultimately we have to take the wise and low volume consumption of earth's resources, because research says that after 30 to 40 years there will not be any fossil fuel, right? So ultimately what we have to do, we have to think about the sustainability of the future, right? So from now onwards we have to think about the sustainable design. So basically, to achieve this sustainable design there are many ways possible, right? So we are going to discuss one by one. So first way is to use the renewable energy, right? Use the renewable energy, you can use the solar panel, wind energy, right? So by this what is going to happen, your dependence upon the fossil fuel will be reduced. Now comes to the second part, that is ecological value. We just try to maintain the ecological value so that ozone layer depletion will be less, as well as the surroundings will be better. Now comes to the third part, that is passive strategies. Nowadays many people are talking about the green buildings, where we don't have to produce the electricity directly. What we are doing, we are just using the other sources like renewable energy, and we are trying to reduce the carbon footprints. Okay, so you can go for the passive strategy, try to use the proper material so that you don't require the sunlight in the daytime. Now comes to the next point, that is whole life cost. Being a designer, you know what is your product life cost. Okay, so you just select the proper material, select the proper manpower as well as the machinery, from the design steps to the production stage as well as the disposal stage. Okay, so you must consider the proper whole life cost of the product so that it can be recycled later in a better manner, right? Now comes to the next, and what is that? That is transport. Okay, as I said, transport is the best way, and you can see from the picture it is a cycle, right? So we are just increasing the pollution by using bikes as well as the cars, right? And if possible, try to use the cycle so that you can maintain your health, as well as you can think about the wellness of the society as well, right? So if you are going to live longer period of time, you can take more part in the sustainability, right? Now comes to the last one, and what is that means? That is sustainable materials. Being a designer, you can select the proper material, right? Recyclable material, so that after the use of the product, you don't have to involve the new material. You can recycle the same material and develop the product. So these are the sustainable design definition as well as means, right? Now comes to see this picture. Here in this picture, everyone is just running behind to purchase their own vehicle, right? And I'm not saying this thing, you don't have to purchase your vehicle, you can purchase it, but wherever possible, try to use the public transport. Okay, by this way you can also contribute into the sustainability. Now let's move further with the next part, and what is that? Principles of sustainable design. So there are basically 7 principles of sustainable design, and what are these? The first principle is form. The second principle is function and usability. The third principle is cost effective solution. the fourth one renewable energy, the fifth one durable design solution, and the sixth one biomimicry, and the last one, the last principle is design for reuse and recycling. So ultimately we must utilize these seven principles of sustainable design to make the better future. Now we are going to discuss one by one these seven principles. Okay, so let's talk about the form. So form is nothing but it's a shape or structure of the product, right? So we must try to develop the simplest structure of the product so that our energy consumption will be less, packaging will be less, and the transportation cost will also be less, right? If you're going to develop a complex product, that will involve more energy as well as more packaging cost and the transportation cost. Okay, so that is form. Now comes to the function and usability. And what is that? Here you have to try the functions, make it more simple, right? Ultimately what is going to happen, if your function and usability is proper, then it will help the consumer to use the product in less time with less energy, right? That is the second principle, function and usability. Now comes to the third part, and what is that? Cost effective solution, right? So reducing the cost of current sustainable product. Okay, so ultimately you just try to develop the product which is of limited use, or you can think upon the recycling of that product so that the cost effective solution can be provided by yourself. Right, now let's move to the next part, that is the fourth principle, which is a renewable energy. Right, so you must avoid the carbon energy. You can must try with the solar, tidal or wind energy so that you can think about the sustainable design. Now comes to the fifth principle, that is durable design solution. See, durability is associated with the life cycle of the product, or what we can say, up to a particular point the product will perform or the function properly, right? It is a life cycle or lifetime period of the product, right? So try to design a good product with a durability, right? So ultimately what is going to happen, if your product is durable, then the wastage will be less. You don't have to depend upon the earth resources because your product is working for a longer period of time. Okay, so you must think about the durable solutions. Now comes to the next principle, that is biomimicry, right? So ultimately what you have to do, you must redesign the industrial systems, products and services on biological lines. Okay, so we will understand this biomimicry topic in the coming slide in detail. Okay, now comes to the last principle, and what is that? Design for reuse and recycling. So ultimately what we have to do, we have to think about the afterlife of the product. Okay, afterlife of the product, so that we can reuse and recycle it again and again, right? So these are the seven principles of sustainable design. Now let's move to the next topic, and what is that? That is, the topic name is biomimicry. So what is biomimicry? Biomimicry is nothing but it is an approach to innovation that seeks sustainable solutions to human challenges by emulating nature's time-tested patterns and strategies. And if I'll explain this definition of biomimicry in simple language, and what is that? You are just taking the ideas from the mother nature, right? So there are many ideas available in the mother nature. What you can do, you can just go through those ideas carefully and just think as a designer, like how you can incorporate those design ideas from mother nature into the product designing, right? So this comes under the biomimicry. Okay, now here are some examples of biomimicry as well. So here you can see 0 hours traffic in the when ants are moving here and there, right? And here right hand side what you can see, number of hours commuters were stuck in the traffic, right? So what was the reason, like what was the solution of this problem? So the solution is there in the mother nature, right? So they have taken the example from mother nature and they have created the designers have created the flyovers. Okay, now let's take further example, right? there are many pigments and dyes are available in the mother nature, right? But what we are doing, we are just using the chemicals to create this fabric, right? Again, we can think like how to use or how to create these brilliant colors from the mother nature. There are many plants available, we can recycle them, or we can use those plants to create the different types of color fabrics, right? Now let's move on to see the next example. Here you can see the water collection principles have been designed from the beetle surface, right? So these type of surfaces nowadays being created or being utilized in various products, right? Now let's move to the next one. Here the paint inspiration taken from lotus. Now next move, and what is that? Here the design of turbine blades taken from the whale. Then Velcro was designed based upon the principle of burr. Now next, and that is birds, right? And based upon the birds geometry, designers have designed the jets. Now let's move further. What is the next example? Here beaver. The inspiration taken from beaver and a wetsuit have been designed. Now let's move further. And shark skin, in the Michael Phelps, when he was performing at the Olympics, he used this swimsuit which has the principle of shark skin. The surface is kind of shark skin surface, right? And it is being used, and the principle used here is biomimicry. Next example is turbine den, and based upon the turbine den, many concepts of the building has been designed. And the last one is the most important, or as well as the most favorite of mine, and what is that? The Japan's maglev train designed based upon the Kingfisher bee. So it's not limited with these examples. There are many other examples are also available by which you can design your own product, right? So this was all about the sustainable design as well as biomimicry. Thank you so much. If you like the video, please share and subscribe the channel. Thank you so much once again.